Akrotiri, Greek, is the site of a Cycladic Bronze Age settlement on the volcanic Greek island of Santorini, Thera. The name comes from the nearby village of Akrotiri. The earliest evidence for human habitation of Akrotiri can be traced back as early as the 5th millennium BCE, when it was a small fishing and farming village. By the end of the 3rd millennium, this community developed and expanded significantly. One factor for Akrotiri's growth may be the trade relations it established with other cultures in the Aegean, as evidenced in fragments of foreign pottery at the site. Akrotiri's strategic position on the primary sailing route between Cyprus and Minoan Crete also made it an important point for the copper trade, allowing it to become an important center for processing copper, as proven by the discovery of molds and crucibles there. Akrotiri's prosperity continued for about another 500 years. Paved streets, an extensive drainage system, the production of high-quality pottery and further craft specialization all point to the level of sophistication achieved by the settlement. This all came to an end, however, in the 16th century BCE with the volcanic eruption of Thera. There is a variety of dating evidence for the eruption, but its exact year is not known. Radiocarbon dating places it most probably between 1620 and 1530 BCE, which is also in accord with the date range of 1570 to 1500 BCE, suggested by similarities of the material culture with other sites in the Aegean. Unusual growth patterns observed in tree rings in 1597, 1560, 1546, and 1544 BCE are consistent with a major volcanic event in any of those years. The latter three dates might be the best candidates, as they are also considered possible for Egyptian New Kingdom records that are thought to refer to the eruption. Buildings of Akrotiri are a unique example of impressive architecture. Magnificent structures with carved facades house communal services. Private houses included workshops and warehouses besides the rooms for the family. The building materials came from the island itself or were imported from other areas. Stone from the quarries of Thera was the main building material. Pebbles and gravels were collected and used for walls and floors. Valuable timber from Crete was used for wooden frameworks in the walls, providing anti-seismic reinforcement. Slabs of plaster from Knossos quarries were placed on the floor over a layer of crushed purple shells. Know-how and good taste were obvious in every activity. 5,000 vessels of various types and sizes, tools, figurines, ritual objects and furniture that came to light during the excavations testify the great development of the settlement. Food leftovers and bones of animals help us reconstruct the nutritional habits of the inhabitants. Impressive frescoes, the oldest samples of monumental painting in the Hellenic world, decorated almost all the building complexes, providing us with valuable information about the society of Akrotiri through their narrative character. Various imported materials and objects prove the relationships and the contact of Akrotiri with Minoan Crete, the Dodecanese, Cyprus, continental Greece, as well as Egypt and Syria. In fact, Akrotiri was inhabited as early as the 4th millennium BC, some say earlier during the late Neolithic period, as a small fishing and farming village. It would then thrive and grow into a larger settlement, measuring up to 20 hectares in the next millennium, during the Bronze Age. Increasingly frequent earthquakes in the area meant that Akrotiri was finally abandoned, some say in the 17th century BC, but it was a volcanic eruption that truly ended the tale of this magnificent place. Buried in volcanic ash, preserving many of the fine frescoes and artworks, the settlement was excavated after 1967. Of course, Akrotiri's ancient settlement met its end just as Pompeii did in AD 79, with the exception that the people seem to have escaped. Through a violent volcanic eruption whose fine ash settled on the streets, houses, and all within, shrouded them and hardened into a pumice that protected them until the archaeologists came. Our gratitude in this case should maybe be even more acute, since the Theran eruption opens a window fully 17 centuries further back than Pompeii. While the dates are argued over, most would agree we're walking back into the remains of the island world of the late 1600s BC. And it's an island world that is not so unfamiliar, since we get to see full streets and the houses within them. Volcanoes are rather more democratic in what they preserve and reveal than the normal processes of survival and antiquarian rediscovery. Here, more than anywhere, one can grasp something of the everyday across the millennia.